Welcome to the DoubleACS Daily News. Attleboro residents had a chance to learn about the history of the Watson and Newell Company at a meeting of the Attleboro Historic Preservation Society. The Attleboro manufacturer once produced a number of silverware products. The presentation was given by City Councilor Julie Hall, and we spoke with her to find out more.
I call myself an apprentice historian. I've done a couple of presentations for the Preservation Society. They've asked me to come in. The first presentation I did was a little bit of research on the buttons that we find here in the Industrial Museum. And one day I just happened to be walking through the Industrial Museum and noticed that the buttons collection that they had were military buttons, and I recognized those buttons. I also saw a very interesting old dog tag, and Carlton, who is the director here, said it was great that I was able to point that out because he saw these items but wouldn't have known what they were. So very, very interesting that I found that that's kind of the way history and the stories of Attleboro get told, is different people that are able to see things that look familiar to them and can tell a story about them, which is exactly what happened here tonight. So tonight I was asked by the Preservation Society to do a presentation on the Watson Newell factory, and in particular I was asked because I actually live on the property that the Watsons, Clarence Watson's home, which is now 140 North Main Street, Twin Beach Court. Some of the facts that I thought were very, very interesting is that there was a craze of spoons, souvenir spoons, and I remember my own mother collecting these things. But this went on for about 30 years, and the Watson factory actually was very much involved, as were many of the jewelers here in Attleboro and throughout the United States, were involved in producing these souvenir spoons. They were predominantly involved with silverware and hollowware, those kinds of things. So that was kind of interesting to me to find that out. This is amazing because every time I do come in to do a presentation, I'm obviously not the authority about Attleboro, but I've made it a point to really appreciate this city. And I do think sometimes people from the outside looking in tend to appreciate it a little bit more because, you know, people that live here go about their day-to-day business, and I found that there's such great history here in Attleboro. Now, the one thing that attracts these types of presentations is there are other people that become very interested in a subject, and that is exactly what happened here tonight. I had a lady that came up to me after the presentation, and she actually had an original bill from silverware that was purchased from the Watson Company. And it's very, very interesting. You know, it's a piece of paper, and she held on to this piece of paper for years. She saw this presentation, and she wanted to contribute to that. And I think that's just the kind of thing that happens. And we actually solicit that kind of information. The other interesting thing that happened is Mr. Gary Demers came up with, and he had a blueprint of the original Watson factory from way back in the 1800s, I believe, and he was able to show everybody how different types of manufacturing went on different floors and what it looked like back the original factory. So you never know what's going to happen. And every time we have one of the things, a little bit more history is recorded. I can tell you from somebody who comes from Walpole and loves this city, my original time in this city was spent at Cape Run Park. That's what I knew. But as I've come here and grown to love this city, I want to know more about it. We have a very fascinating history here, and there's so much more that I want to learn.
That's it for today's update. You can watch all of our content in high definition by visiting our website, doubleacs.com, by downloading the DoubleACS mobile app, or visiting the DoubleACS Roku channel. For DoubleACS News, I'm Austin Ricketts.